Spanish painter Salvador Dali was the richest and most famous artist of the 20th century, and the most outrageous. A master of self-promotion, Dali was the ultimate performance artist. He shot to fame as the king of surrealism, but Dali was even more bizarre than his art. His twisted vision of the world extended to every medium he touched. Jewelry, set design, sculpture, and film. Nothing was off limits. In America in 1973, rock and roll caught his eye. He summoned heavy metal legend Alice Cooper to appear before him.
I was nervous. I mean, I'd met the Beatles and Elvis and everybody, but this was Salvador Dali. This was like my history.
Alice Cooper had created this incredible personality with all the makeup and the snakes and everything.
We are immediately his favorite band because we not only were loud and obnoxious and in your face, but we were really creepy. You know, our stage show was very surrealistic. I think it kind of reminded him of his paintings.
30 years before rock and roll hit the scene, Salvador Dali, a young Spanish painter, was shocking audiences around the world with his surreal canvases. His astonishing career spanned half a century. But perhaps Dali's greatest work of art was himself. He created elaborate living tableaus in which he was surrounded by fabulous creatures. Few lasted as long as Ultraviolet, a stunning French aristocrat who was by his side for a decade.
If you want to be famous, you need a certain definite look. So if people have seen you once, they shall remember you.
He walked in the room and he was wearing
Giraffe skin pants, Aladdin shoes that came up like this, a pair of socks that Elvis gave him, these purple socks.
a giraffe skin coat, and his sideburns were in pin curls.
The Dali is here.
So the look was the moustache. I mean, who else do you know that had moustache that sometimes went all the way to the eye? And then in the heyday, those beautiful black hair, the way he dressed.
He speaks one word in French, one word in Portuguese, one word in English, one word in Spanish. So you're only picking up every fifth word. You have no idea what he's talking about.
But Salvador Dali's grand performance was only an act.
Behind that big public image, which was very much something he consciously cultivated, was a much smaller, shyer, nervous person that he never wanted you to see.
He was not a courageous person, I would say. He was rather on the frightened side, you know, afraid that he might be sick, afraid that this might happen to him.
Dali only allowed one person behind the scenes, his wife Gala.
He took care of art, she took care of life. She was his stage manager.
Gala was the brains. Gala was the money. She was the, she ran the business.
He couldn't do a third of what he achieved if he hadn't got Gala.
10 years his senior, Gala was his wife, muse, and business manager for over 50 years.
She was much more the power behind the throne.
It was Gala who transformed Dali from a penniless Spanish artist into a multimillionaire. Though tiny in stature, she dominated every aspect of his life.
Gala had called our office and said that he wanted to work with me as a model.
To do this hologram where I was wearing a $2 million tiara and a $3 million necklace sitting on this pedestal with a Venus de Milo as a microphone.
Singing into it, but kind of like eating this thing also. Well, he shot it. It took 3 days to shoot.
The final part of Dali's performance was to alert the world's media.
The press asked me, they said, what is it like working with Dali? And I said, I have no idea. I said, because I don't understand a word he's saying and I don't know what he's doing. And Dali jumped up.
And he says, perfect. He says, confusion is the greatest form of communication.
Confusion was Dali's facade. It gave him a license to do anything. But then in 1965, real life came crashing through. Dali fell in love. Amanda Lear was a 26-year-old catwalk model in London and Paris.
It was the beginning of a big love affair. It lasted, I think, 15, 16 years.
Ever the showman,